Welcome everyone to the Atlanta Motor Speedway and Sprint Cup Series qualifying presented by Subway. It is a beautiful Labor Day weekend out here, and there is all kind of action on the racetrack at Atlanta this weekend. We have already seen practice sessions for the Nationwide Series and the Sprint Cup Series qualifying and racing ultimately tonight under the lights for the Nationwide Series. And the stars of NASCAR are out in full force. And we recommend that you come to this racetrack and join us on this beautiful weekend. It's a Labor Day tradition, the second time around now. And as we see our crowd out here at our speed stage, takes a lot more than a little bit of sunshine to keep these fans away. We've been having a great day so far, very busy day here on Speed, and the hits just keep on coming. I'm John Roberts, everybody. Glad you could be with us. Let's take a look back at happy hour practice, see who was fast, and we will see who might be on the pole or at least qualifying up front, which history shows us is a very good place to be. It was happy hour earlier today. Clint Boyer, of course, known as the Bubble Boy right now because he is the last driver inside the top 12. He's got the position, and lots of other drivers wanted. He was fifth fastest on the speed chart earlier today in happy hour and could be a threat for the pole position. He will go out late in the qualifying session. Go about mid-pack, 10th in the qualifying session. David Reagan, one of the local favorites, driving the number 6. He will lead us off in qualifying. He has the first draw, and so he will be the first car on the track when it comes to qualifying today. Juan Pablo Montoya has already been, well, off to a great start so far this season and wants to add another oval victory to that one, as Juan Pablo in the 42 will go out 15th in qualifying this afternoon. Now, Carl Edwards made the season sweep of this racetrack not too long ago, still is winless yet this year, and Carl Edwards was one of the faster cars in that happy hour practice, and his draw is probably a little bit better, 33rd, as the track will cool down just a little bit by that time. And it should be no surprise that Ryan Newman is fast on this track. He's tied with Buddy Baker for the all-time lead in pole positions here with 7. If he could add another one, that would be 8, and that would make him the sole record holder when it comes to sitting on the pole. Let's take a look at the top 10 in speeds. You see Casey Kane up there as well. Casey, of course, has won at this track before and still has an outside shot at making that chase. Jimmy Johnson, Bernard, Tony Stewart, and Greg Biffle round out your top 10. Now let's get you down inside the garage area and check in with our good friend, Hermie Sadler. Hermie?
Well, Johnny, I want to catch up with David Reagan, and it's always good to have a fast car when you're racing pretty much at home, and you guys have been at the top of the speed chart pretty much all day. The problem is you need to fire the guy that drew it for you to go at number 1. How are you going to handle that?
The problem is it's usually me that draws that number. Man, we've had a lot of bad luck drawing for qualifying this year, but yeah, our UPS Ford's fast. It is fun to come back to Atlanta Motor Speedway. It's a great racetrack and obviously close to home. So, you know, hometown for Coca-Cola, UPS, a lot of our sponsors. So hopefully I can get a good lap in here. It's been a nice day out, so I don't think that the track's going to change a whole lot during this qualifying run.
And talk about a qualifying lap at this racetrack. You got to get up on the wheel, and they talk about a white knuckle lap. You get that here in Atlanta.
It happens fast. In practice, you know, you go through 1 and 2, and before you know it, you're already in turn 3, and then the lap's over, and you think, man, well, how'd the car drive? I kind of forgot. It happened so fast. So it's a lot of fun, but the racing's great here. You know, the tires wear off over time, and you slip and you slide, but qualifying's fast, so hopefully a good lap here.
Well, David Reagan's got a fast race car. He hopes to back up that practice run here in qualifying. Bob?
Well, Hermie, from Unadilla, Georgia, we go to Peachtree City, Georgia, with Reed Sorensen in your home racetrack. But Hermie Sadler and David Reagan talking about a white knuckle lap in qualifying here. Do you hold your breath the whole lap?
Yeah, you pretty much have to. You don't really realize it until you cross the start finish line. And I just did one of them a minute ago, and it went pretty good. So hopefully this Cup car will be the same way in the Red Bull car. We struggled a little bit on this side. I thought we had a decent car in race trim. We switched over to qualifying trim and didn't gain much speed, and it was definitely hold your breath because I didn't know what it was going to do.
Qualified 3rd in the Nationwide car, like you said, pretty darn good. But there's a lot of talk about what you're doing next year. In fact, some reports came out today. What is Reed Sorensen doing?
Well, I don't know. I guess the reports know more than I do. I'm just racing right now, man. I'm enjoying running this Red Bull car on Sundays and loving running the Dollar General car and the Nationwide car, and I'm trying to get a win in that car before the year's out. And I'm just having fun racing, and I'm doing that, and we'll go from there.
All right, thanks a lot, Reed Sorensen. And JR, it was reported today that Reed Sorensen will go full-time for Braun Racing next year. He says that's not a done deal by any stretch of the imagination.
And Bob, you can tell by that smile, but those two gentlemen that we just interviewed there, David Reagan and Reed Sorensen, actually have had an incredible run at this racetrack, not on the 1.5-mile oval, but in the Legends cars on the quarter mile.
That's right. They're actually both winners here. Right here, I'm on the backstretch for the quarter mile for the Legends cars here. They run every Thursday night, I believe, here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. And remember, David Reagan won the Southern Superstars Super Late Model race here last night at the Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Hoping to make it 2 for the weekend. And you know what? Legends are made from that series, and Legends are also made on this racetrack, often 200 miles an hour, heading into the corners on one of the fastest joints in all of NASCAR. Kevin Harvick is relaxing because he's already in the chase, but he wants to add one more win for those bonus points on the other side of the break. Mike Joy and company will have qualifying.
Atlanta Motor Speedway, the fastest track in NASCAR if you look at qualifying results from March. And now they're ready to run for the pole for the Emory Healthcare 500 that will be run here tomorrow. Jeff Gordon among the favorites in Papa's car. His daughter did that paint job. It's a little different. And a lot going on as we get ready to go, and one of the hometown favorites shall be first, at least first in the order. That is David Reagan. Hi everybody, Mike Joy, Larry McReynolds, Jeff Hammond with you, and it has been a day of rising temperatures, and who knows, maybe in the garage rising tempers as crew chiefs and drivers struggle to try to find the right combination during that 2 3/4 hours of practice that now 2 hours later have to translate to qualifying.
Mike, you're as bad as Mark Smith. You're always trying to stir stuff up. And I'm talking about our producer down there in the trailer right there. We've been having a good day all day long. But when it comes down to qualifying, who's going to make the right decision? We've been fighting this racetrack temperature all day long, up to 130, 135 degrees at one time. Now it's cooling down, and it's cooling down pretty quick. And unfortunately, the luck of the draw is going to have a lot to do with the results of these qualifying times. Going out early, definitely a negative today. Go out later on, you could wind up being a hero, both the driver and the crew chief.
Now, you could say for the top 35 in points, qualifying doesn't matter so much. You're in the race. Get a spot and get going. But, Larry, 80% of the last 20 Cup races here at Atlanta have been won from a top 10 starting spot. So qualifying here may be more important than it is at a lot of tracks.
Well, I mean, you're right, Mike. You know, even though the setup between a qualifying run and a race run here is significantly different, I think when you look at this as one of the fastest racetracks we go to, if you have speed in qualifying, it means you have speed for the race. And just the uniqueness of this schedule. Normally we race on Sunday, we practice and qualify on Friday, then we're able to get ready to race on Saturday. We race on Sunday. This is a 2-day show. So all that practice earlier, 2 hours and 45 minutes, they were scrambling, zigging and zagging. Let's work on race. Let's work on qualifying. And there was a lot of guys that didn't get happy with their race setup, so they just barely made a practice qualifying run late in that final practice session.
When you talk about pole at Atlanta, the man always to beat is Ryan Newman. He's in the top 5 in the Nationwide Series. He was P1 in practice. The bad news is he has an early draw. Top 3 in the draw, not going to help his chances.
No, but if there isn't any kind of advantage at all, Mike, he just came off that nationwide qualifying session. He qualified late there, so he at least has a little bit of feel of what the track has got in it. So maybe he can go back, tell his guys over there on the U.S. Army car, Tony Gibson and them, I felt this, and maybe we can do that with the air pressure. It may help him a little bit, maybe a little bit of an advantage. Unlike David Reagan, he's not been on a racetrack since earlier this afternoon.
Reagan from Unadilla, one of the 2 hometown heroes. Well, 3. Reed Sorensen, Bill Elliott would be the others.
And he's already a winner here at Atlanta Motor Speedway this weekend.
In a late model race, they ran on the quarter mile last night. Reagan dominated, leading 129 of the 150 laps, including the last one.
You're going to say, and what Larry was talking about from the pole area, that's a good place to start. And that's exactly where David Reagan started from last night.
Yeah, they did a little bit of an invert. He was the fastest qualifier, but they inverted him to 5th, but he still pretty much dominated that race. And his first lap, I think this is the first lap that's been turned today in the 29-second bracket, 29.69. I think we'll see all of our top 35 one and done.
Almost 187 miles an hour right there on that run by David Reagan.
So the top of the qualifying order is Reagan, Sam Hornish, and Ryan Newman. Reagan was 4th quickest in practice, Hornish 22nd, and Newman was fastest. So the UPS Ford, 29.69. Here's the Mobil 1 Dodge. Sam Hornish qualified outside pole at Texas. He has 5 Atlanta appearances, only 1 top 30 start, and no top 20 finishes.
And he's still looking for his first top 10 finish of 2010. His best finish so far, 11th twice, and that was both the Pocono races.
28th in the point standings, right about where he was this time last year.
I think we'll see all types of lines used as far as qualifying. You're going to see the majority of them, I think, like Sam Hornish Jr., just down in 1 and 2, run the bottom. But trust me, we know we're going to see a unique lap when it comes to the line that Juan Pablo Montoya runs.
He may surprise you, Larry.
Never know.
Hornish clocks in at 30 flat, 30.01. Second of 2, with the Rocket due up next.
And I truly believe, even though Casey Kane was quick in the first practice, Ryan Newman was quick in the second practice, I just think because of the conditions, and now that qualifying's here this time of day, I think it's one of those unknowns as to who really's got the car that can sit on this pole.
Well, if you're going to catch a cloud, you're probably going to have to go to Birmingham or further west.
It's not going to happen
to find one. That's not going to happen. Here's the Rocket. You know, David Pearson holds the all-time record for consecutive poles, 11 at Charlotte for the Wood brothers. There weren't as many competitive cars then as now, so Ryan's 6 straight poles here is really quite an accomplishment in today's NASCAR.
But this is the kind of racetrack I think that fits him. And Larry, we talk about, you know, what can guys do when it comes to a place like this? You got to get up on the wheel. You got to suck it up. You got to kind of like nerve it up and make it happen. Remember this guy, he's broke track records at Bristol. He's been fast here. It seems like he likes this kind of stuff.
Now what I saw was Newman taking it a little easier than David Reagan into one,
yep.
But beat him back to the gas, got off 2, and that tracker number, well, now it's coming back down the other way.
Well, he may have gotten off a little bit easy again, trying to get off of 4, and it looks like that's exactly what he's doing.
No, it's going to be a great lap for Ryan Newman.
29.63, 6 1/100ths quicker than David Reagan.
But I'm going to say, but so early in the qualifying session, don't be surprised if somebody doesn't beat that.
Newman is quickest. Kyle Busch is next. Bobby Labonte and Brad Keselowski. Speed's presentation of Sprint Cup qualifying from Atlanta is presented by Subway Restaurants. So many $5 footlong subs to choose from. Enjoying amazing value at Subway all day, every day. And brought to you by Toyota. And by Sprint, the Now Network. Fourth car on track is Kyle Busch. Had a strong run in Kentucky Friday night in the truck race. Had a great qualifying run earlier today for tonight's Great Clips 300 in the Nationwide Series. He will start outside Casey Kane on the front row. Here's the pedigree Camry.
Look at your tracker right now. Who let the dogs out? Look here, he's coming back to start finish line.
Boy, it's going the wrong way. But how about that?
Didn't get it. 29.637 to Newman's 29.636.
1/1000th of a second.
The hair of the dog.
The hair of the dog. Oh, me.
But he lost it off of turn 4. Just didn't get off the exit of that corner as good as Ryan Newman.
Let's check with Hermie Sadler.
Yeah, catching up with Clint Boy. I know we're getting ready to make this lap at Atlanta, but a good comeback for you guys at Bristol a couple weeks ago from that penalty to get that top 5 finish.
Yeah, it was, you know, we desperately needed that to give us a little bit of pad going in these last races. It's comforting knowing you're gaining points and you're running out of races before the cutoff, but we got 2 more to go. You know, really, I feel like the only ones who can beat us out of this thing are ourselves. We got to keep from doing that, and we're going to have a good shot at being in this thing. But looking forward to Atlanta. Got a good race car, a lot of confidence in this BB&T Chevrolet. Pretty good in practice. I know the track's got at least a 60 in it. There's 3 in a row there, so if the driver don't mess up, hopefully we can maybe beat that just a little.
Clint likes his race car. Got that confident look on his face, guys.
Thanks, Hermie. Bobby Labonte, the all-time winningest active Cup driver at Atlanta with 6 victories to Bill Elliott's 5 and Jeff Gordon's 4. The Tax Slayer Chevy. They're carrying a special decal for Lisa Murray, member of the family of that sponsoring company who's battling colon cancer, and sending our best wishes to her as Labonte clocks in at 30:03.
And Bobby running the full schedule, and when he's on the racetrack on race day, he's racing. He keeps going back and forth between the 71 car of TRG Motorsports and James Finch's 09 car. I think he's going to be in the 09 car for the next couple of weeks, and they will be racing those races at Richmond and Loudon.
Everybody wants a word with Ryan.
I think that one finger meant 1/1000th.
That
one
was it.
1/1000th difference.
That was the difference.
But the tale of two tapes right there. Kyle Busch, honestly, as long as his engine cranks here at Atlanta and at Richmond, he's locked into the chase. Ryan Newman, 118 points out of the top 12.
As Brad Keselowski goes on the clock in his Penske Dodge, would you rather miss the pole by a millisecond or miss it by a minute?
Millisecond. Just you know, for the personal pride of it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think 1/1000th is going to end up being the difference, though, of sitting on the pole. I'm kind of like Ryan Newman. I think as we go into this session, the track's going to gain a little grip, and we're going to see some pretty fast speeds.
Brad Keselowski, 30.08. He is the slowest of 6 so far in his Penske Dodge.
And, you know, Brad is still looking for his first top 10 finish of 2010. Now, the irony of that, he had a top 10 run going, maybe a top 5 run going in March late in the race when Carl Edwards got into him here on the front straightaway.
And established one of the most wilder rides we've seen all year long.
Oh, boy. Downstairs to Bob Dillner.
Mike, a blink of an eye separates the top 2 guys right now. You went over and joked around with Ryan Newman. What you tell him?
I just asked him what he thought of his lap, you know, and seeing what I did mine. I hit 1 and 2 really, really good. Felt really good about it, and got down into 3 and 4. Just missed the bottom by a little bit, and knew I had to get back to the gas, and it just slid up off the corner. It just started having to chase it, you know. But really good run for the pedigree Camry. Feel good about it, you know, but I'm a little nervous that when the sun sets over there, the track's really, really going to pick up time, and I bet you there's a high 20 sitting out there.
Kyle Busch, he told me that. He said he didn't like his draw at all, guys.
Kind of sounds like a fisherman. You know, there's a big one out there. Somebody's going to get it.
Oh, yeah.
How about Marcus Ambrose? Turned 34 years old this week.
You know, a bunch of motorsports journalists rated Marcus Ambrose this week as the best V8 supercar driver ever after those championships in 2003, 2004, before moving here from Australia in 2005 to pursue a NASCAR career.
Well done. But the Kleenex Kingsford Toyota clocks in 7th at a 30.12. Wasn't that strong in practice, 30th fastest in the final session. Sprint Cup point leader Kevin Harvick is next, then rookie Kevin Conway and Clint Boyer. Here's your point standing leader. Bakersfield, California's Kevin Harvick. His Shell Pennzoil Chevrolet was evil in the first laps of the opening round of practice at 11 a.m. this morning. It was bouncing from one bump stop to the other on the front. But they made steady improvements on that car, Jeff.
They made steady improvements, but one thing that may help a lot of these guys off of turn 2 are those shadows of those big signboards right there that are coming down into turn 2. It'll cool that part of the racetrack off, and we've seen a lot of guys get loose off that exit of turn 2.
Boy, the same area he was having problems with in practice earlier in the middle of 3 and 4.
But he's coming
Seemed
back.
like he had problems there on this qualifying lap.
Oh, he falls off to 7th from 5th, just in the final 100 or so feet there. 30.086 to Keselowski's 30.083. The difference between 6th and 7th. Bob?
Ryan Newman actually talking to radio right down here. We'll be back with him in just a moment, guys.
Newman is quickest at a 29.636 to Kyle Busch's 29.636. It sounds like we're at the drag strip. It's all thousandths.
Exactly.
That's the margin.
But, you know, back to Kevin Harvick, to me, it was this race a year ago when he finished 2nd that this team made the statement that they were making the turnaround that carried some momentum to the end of 2009 and carried right into 2010. It was this race a year ago.
And everybody said, all right, show us. And they did.
And the key thing is, Larry, when you bring that out, let's remember at that point, Richard Childers and Kevin Harvick were miles apart trying to, get their contract stuff done. And all of a sudden they started putting it all together, and it looks like it's all carried over into 2010, and they put everything back together. We watched Kevin Conway in the 7 car for Robbie Gordon Motorsports.
He extends Camry. Robbie's off-road racing this weekend. He's off-road racing.
Yeah, he only has the one car here this week, unlike the last few weeks when he's had the 7 in the 07. Robbie is not here at all this weekend.
So Conway, not a quick qualifier, but a consistent finisher. Times in at 31:22. And let's try Bob Dillner again with the Rocket.
Got him this time, Mike. He's done with his radio interview. And Ryan Newman, first thing you told me was, I think you're going to get beat. Where was what?
Kyle actually told me that we were both going to get beat, so I'm not really sure what to think, but it was a good lap for the Army Reserve Chevrolet, and I felt like I had everything I could get out of it in 3 and 4. I didn't get everything out of it in 1 and 2, but I think the track's just, I mean, it's so unpredictable with the bumps and everything else that even when you think you hit your marks, you can hit a bump just a little bit the wrong way and get thrown off. So hopefully nobody else gets a perfect lap.
Nobody's going to get a perfect lap, as definitely Ryan Newman is looking forward to hopefully staying up front, guys.
All right, Clint Boyer is on the track. You know who's most nervous about Ryan Newman right now?
Buddy Baker.
Sitting home in Sherrilsport, North Carolina, because Baker and Newman share the record at Atlanta with 7 poles apiece.
And how ironic,
yes.
Buddy Baker was Ryan Newman's mentor for the first few years.
That's right.
As he moved into NASCAR.
Buddy, relax. Go get you whatever your favorite beverage is. Kick your feet up. We're going to be fine right now. I don't think there's anything else to worry about.
2 things don't go together there. Buddy Baker and relaxing.
Clint Boyer, 12th in the chase standings. Looks like he'll have a pretty good starting spot for tomorrow night. 29.800 for the BB&T Chevrolet of Richard Childress. But he could be at North Wilkesboro. Big late model race up there today. Regan Smith is next. Jamie McMurray, then Joey Logano. Regan Smith in the Furniture Row Chevrolet just signed a 2-year contract extension to stay with that team. His best qualifying effort of the season, 20th at Bristol. His best finish of the year was right here in March, 14th.
Tell you what, he was pretty decent in that final practice. He was 16th quickest, and he's flirting with the top 5 about halfway down the back straightaway.
Yeah, he didn't have a very good qualifying effort in the spring. Qualified 38th, but like you said, Mike, he finished up 14th. And today, though, if he can get back to the start-finish line, he's going to have a pretty good starting spot.
Trailed off just a bit coming out of turn number 4, and he'll end up 7th for the moment with a 30.07.
You know, I can't help but think back to Ryan Newman's interview. Stranger things have happened, but if somebody beats Kyle Busch, they're probably going to beat Ryan Newman, too.
Since they're only 1,000th apart. Well, now, you know how that could happen. Is if you tie Ryan Newman, but you're higher in the point. Oh, don't even go
and
there.
as I said, I made sure that I stressed stranger things have happened in our sport.
Why do they happen to us? Tomorrow, NASCAR race day roars into Atlanta. Casey Kane live, plus JR sits down with Jeff Gordon, and a look at the summer swoons of Jimmy Johnson, Denny Hamlin. NASCAR race day built by the Home Depot, live from Atlanta. Tomorrow, 5 Eastern, and only on Speed.
Just got the report that the track temperature is at 118. That's a good probably maybe 15 or so degrees cooler than what it was in final practice earlier, Jeff.
Yeah, and as that temperature continues to go down, these guys are going to continue to go faster, because we know that earlier this morning when the track temperature was under 100 degrees, times were almost a half a second quicker than what they are even right now.
Look at Jamie McMurray. Coming out of turn 2 with a P1, gains it right back in the middle of the backstretch.
That's what's impressive, because going into the corner, that doesn't impress me. Coming out of the corner, down the back straightaway, that does get my attention.
His previous best start here is 6th in 16 races.
Whoa, he left it off right there.
The trouble spot for everybody all day long. Exit of turn 4, 4th quickest at a 29.779 for Jamie. The man that's 13th in points right now, 100 points out of the top 12 behind Clint Boyer.
Remember that group, the Sadler brothers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Let's go there.
I don't remember that group either, Mike, but thank you. And being that I'm the older, wiser brother, the guys in the booth are telling me, watch out for turn 4. That's the spot that everybody's losing speed, so won't say enough. I tried to help you out.
I appreciate the help, but how do you avoid it? You got to cross it coming to the green and then coming back to the checkered. But I don't know. I'll try to get through there as fast as I can. And actually, Stanley Ford's been really good in race training today. We've been really happy with the same car we finished in the top 10 with in Michigan. We really worked hard on our races stuff, so we didn't really do but one qualifying run. So we'll see what we got. But Atlanta's such a cool track that you can pass and make maneuvers on during the race that we didn't put a lot of effort into qualifying today.
And I hope Elliott Salad doesn't get too tired, because we're both going to the UNC game tonight. We may have to suit up. So
I was
going to
say, will they
today.
have enough players there to play the ball game?
Us too, maybe. We'll see.
That's in the Georgia Dome tonight. Maybe it was the Statler brothers.
I was getting ready to say, Mike, it was the Statler brothers.
Why mess up a good story?
No.
Joey
Logano. Did
Logano.
that when you went down to Irving and Elliott.
Joey Logano in the Home Depot Toyota, 11th with a 30.107. This has not been a good qualifying track for Joey. 29th, his previous best effort.
And his best finish here in 3 races, 22nd, and they really struggled with this brand new car throughout those 2 practice sessions.
Next, Matt Kenseth, JP Montoya, and Mark Martin. 13 drivers have qualified. Ryan Newman is quickest. Kyle Busch is second by 1,000th of a second, as Matt Kenseth, who did start on the pole once here because he was leading the standings when qualifying was rained out, has a 2nd place finish and has a big string of top dozen finishes here.
He finished 2nd here in the spring race, one of his better runs of 2010.
He's not been flashy in 2010, but he's been consistently in the top 12 as far as the points are concerned. And he comes in here, qualifies 11th quickest. I don't think he's going to be that happy with that lap.
No, 30.1, not indicative of where he was in that first practice session at all. Bob?
Jamie McMurray, a pole run until turn number 4. What happened up there?
Just really slick. I didn't feel like I got through 1 and 2 that good either. Where the car slides up, and then when you hit the shade, there was quite a bit of grip. But 3 and 4, just even coming to the green, slid around on exit, and then coming back to the white to finish my lap. It's just really slick in Atlanta. This is a really hard racetrack to get a hold of, and when we're so used to qualifying here at night, and it's always, I was talking to Dale Jarrett about this earlier, it's always exciting here to qualify at night because you know you're going to pick up a 2.5 or 2 seconds from practice, but it's hard to do when the sun's out.
Teammate Juan Pablo Montoya on track, Mike.
Look at the line. He is running way up high against the wall, and the tracker had him at P1, and he's there again.
He's keeping that thing wound up, and that speed went all the way down that back straightaway. Now he goes to the bottom of 3 and 4.
This is exactly what he did in practice right there, guys, but he loses it off of 4.
That big slide up out of turn 4 cost him the pole. He's third. 29.693.
He was there till mid-late corner exit of turn 4.
Exact same thing to he and his teammate.
Totally different lines, but the exact same problem.
I mean, he was very impressive once again coming to take the green. I don't think we can overemphasize that enough. He ran in real high in turn 3, chopped it across the bottom of the racetrack, and when he crossed the start-finish line, he was faster than anybody else at that point in time. Lost a little bit down in 1 and 2, regained it all the way back, but at the late exit of turn 4, he just can't hang on.
Well, the Huggies Chevrolet was one of the bigger bullets that Ryan Newman would have to dodge. Now here is Mark Martin, who had a press conference with Hendrick Motorsports scheduled for 3:30 today, and the announcement was that Quaker State would continue as a major backer of the entire Hendrick Motorsports team. Mark, of course, remains in the number 5 for 2011. Let's see what the CarQuest Chevy can do. Mark was 23rd in final practice.
You know, Mark comes in here 14th in the points, 101 points behind Clint Boyer. But he said this week, more important than thinking about the chase, we just need to figure out how to get back to the form we were at this point a year ago when they were up there right in the top 2 or 3 of the points, winning races and sitting on poles.
7th for Mark Martin, 29.929. A lot of cars right in that 29.6 to 32nd area.
He becomes the 7th car to run in the 29-second bracket, which we never saw a 29-second bracket time in practice.
September 23rd, the world's greatest collector car events, Barrett-Jackson, Las Vegas, presented by Bridgestone. Live coverage begins Thursday, September 23rd, 4 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on Speed. Jeff Burton will be the 17th qualifier. The Cat Chevrolet sits 7th in the Sprint Cup standings. He has a 3rd place start here and 4 4th-place finishes.
Now, they were 4th quickest in the first practice. That lap was cut right at the beginning, but we saw the look on Jeff Burton's face in that final practice. They were definitely searching and looking for what they needed qualifying and race-wise with this brand new race car.
Trying to search around out there, he and Todd Barrier, but the key thing was he didn't get but one practice qualifying attempt because they were trying to work on this car and figure out what it needed for the race. And right now, it's not going to be a spectacular lap, but he's going to wind up being 10th quickest.
Solid. Well up on his teammate Harvick. Harvick was a 30.08. He's a 30.06. But those two 100s are 4 positions. Jeff Burton sits 10th.
But the quickest Richard Childress car, probably the most important one this weekend, Clint Boyer right now is 6th quickest in that 33 car.
Hermie?
Yeah, want to catch up with Greg Biffle. Get ready to hop in the 16 car. Pretty good in practice. What are you looking at for here in qualifying?
Well, just hopefully it's not as tight as qualifying. Hopefully we didn't loosen it up too much. Little tight off of 4, so we freed the car up. Just see what it'll do here. You know, we got a decent draw, but doesn't seem like it's cooling off any, so we'll see what we can do.
Looks like turn 4 has been a trouble spot for a lot of guys. What is it about that corner, especially in a qualifying lap, that gives you guys trouble getting back to that start-finish line?
Well, I think that's where you have your most speed. You come down the front here, cross 1 and 2, down the back, you got all that momentum. You get to the center of the corner and you pay the price. You know, it's how fast can you go across the center of the corner, but you know, you don't want to slow the car down, but you don't want it to be too tight leaving. So it's a real balance right there in the middle of the corner.
Well, Greg Biffle, the racetrack is slick, and when it comes to driving on a slick racetrack, he's as good as they get. Bob?
Hermie, watching Juan Pablo Montoya talk to his team after his qualifying run, you're really using a lot of hand motions to describe what was going on down there in 3 and 4. What happened?
I thought Huggy's Chevy's been pretty good. Just got too tight, you know, got to the middle, picked up the gas and nose washed, and gets to a point you got to get on the gas and you hope you don't hit the, you know, put all that wheel you can so you don't drive it to the wall, and it's gonna, as soon as it gets straight, it's going to kick out. And we lost a ton of time there, but you know, it's nice. We again come to another weekend, and again we got, you know, another strong car.
Bottom line is JPM is fast, guys.
Scott Speed is going to have his best ever Atlanta start. He's never had a top 30 start here, but right now he is 8th fastest in the Red Bull Camry, 30 flat. So definitely he'll have his best career Atlanta start this weekend.
Now, actually, Travis Quapple in that 34 car was supposed to have went out, and we see them just coming to pit road because NASCAR had put them on the 5-minute clock.
So our next qualifier then is A.J. Allmendinger in the Insignia Best Buy Ford. In the spring, he started 25th, finished 6th, his best efforts in both categories here at Atlanta.
Looks pretty
got
good
it wound
so
up
far.
right now. Got off of turn 2, really nice.
Yeah, he was 12th quickest in that final practice earlier today.
Let's see what turn 4 deals him.
Yeah, he lost a lot of ground there, which is going to come up to a couple of spots.
7th, 29.81. 7th fastest, 2nd quickest Ford for Allmendinger.
Yeah, right now, David Reagan in that 6 Roush Fenway Ford after 19 cars, hanging pretty tough to go out first.
That's exactly right.
Next, Reed Sorensen, then Elliott Sadler and Travis Quapple.
Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Burns in the NASCAR Race Hub here in Charlotte. Join us next week here in the Hub. Our guests will include the boss man at Team Red Bull, Jay Fry. Jeff Burton joins us from Daytona, where they'll repave the track. And A.J. Allmendinger among those joining us here in studio, Monday through Thursday, 7 Eastern.
Thanks, Steve. There's one of those Red Bull cars on track right now. Reed Sorensen, native of Peachtree City, Georgia, about 15 miles to the west of the Speedway here in Hampton. Tough lap, 30-21.
I'm anxious to hear what Jay Fry says, because realistically, when you think about it, they've got 2 race teams, but 4 drivers. They've got Scott Speed, they've got Reed Sorensen right now. Brian Vickers has been cleared to come back and race next year, hopefully. And, of course, we know that Casey Kane's going to be over there.
It's going to be busy.
Are you trying to say all of a sudden they got 4 occupants and only 2 seats?
Well, I know in the press conference when they announced Casey Kane, Jay Fry did not rule out that they possibly would not be a 3-car team in 2011. So we'll hear what he has to say on the Hub.
Good point. We'll look forward to that as Elliott Sadler comes out to make his run in the Stanley Tools Ford. Sadler started outside pole here in a Dodge in March of '07. He has a 6th place finish as his best in 23 Atlanta appearances. 8 times he started in the top 10 here. One of the few drivers in the top 35 of Sprint Cup, whose plans for next year are still a bit up in the air.
Guys, he got through 1 and 2. It's kind of unusual how he ran in there, but he made up a lot of ground down that back straightaway. If he can get through turn 4 here.
And he ran the high line through most of turn 3 and 4 and just lost it all right there, center off.
A little pickup right at the end carries him to 11th. He's the 3rd fastest Ford with a 30.02.
Not a bad effort right there. That's the fastest lap of the day.
Hermie?
Yeah, catching up with Jimmy. I came by and checked on you guys in practice, and that was a very intense practice session for you guys. How'd you guys get it figured out for qualifying?
Yeah, we got off to a bit of a slow start, but we made some progress at the end, and I'm going to thank my guys for grinding as hard as they did. They were throwing setups into the car left and right, and really changed a lot in a short period of time. And at the end of, really when the second practice started, we made another race run and was very happy about things then, and then went into qualifying trim and put up a good lap time. So I think we're on the right track now, but like you saw, it was a little rough there at the beginning.
These guys have worked really hard today to get this car to Jimmy's liking. Very slick racetrack, looking for that balance, and with balance comes speed, guys.
Thanks, Hermie. Greg Biffle is on track in the 3M Roush Fenway Ford.
Jeff, I think you saw the same thing that I saw. He really got through 3 and 4.
He did. He got back to that throttle.
3M Blue is that masking tape that doesn't stick to what it stuck to. This thing sticks.
It's sticking right now. Now we got to see. He gets into 3 really well. Out of the throttle. Can he get back to the throttle again? Yes, he's coming back because the car will hang in there. Yep. He bobbles off a 4.
I think it came from overdrive in the entrance to 3 and 4. He just carried too much speed through there, and he'll be 7th quickest at a 29.81.
He beats Allmendinger for that 7th spot by 1/1000.
It just looks like it's a tightrope from overdriving and underdriving the entrance into turn 3 and 4, and that's going to dictate how you get off the corner.
Coming up, Tony Stewart, Paul Menard, and Jeff Gordon. Travis Kvapil was on the 5-minute clock. They did get that Long John Silver's Ford through inspection and get it out there so that he could make his qualifying laps. Kvapil has 1 top 20 start and 1 top 25 finish here at Atlanta in 8 appearances.
A little bit off in both practice sessions. He was 40th in the final practice session earlier, but this car is one of the cars that's definitely locked in.
22nd of 23 with a 30.61. That's about a second off pole for the Wisconsin driver.
Mike, one thing we want to point out, we talked about this earlier in practice. You could see some black spots going down into turn 1, which are the bumps entering turn 1. And I'm watching a lot of guys right now that are trying to run fast laps. They're actually running above those. We take a look here at the Toyota track description here at Atlanta. 1.54 mile racetrack with 24 degrees of banking through both corners and 5 degrees down the back straightaway as well as the front straightaway. But this place has got a lot of corner, doesn't it, Larry? And that's where you really make up. You know, makes this place so incredibly fast with the 24-degree banking.
Yeah, this track opened actually in 1960 as a true oval, and then in between the spring and the fall race of 1997, they reconfigured it to a quad oval, actually flipped it around. What's the used to be the front stretch is now the back stretch.
Tony Stewart, the Office Depot Old Spice Chevrolet, looking for the pole from his teammate, Ryan Newman. Stewart, incredibly, has led 11% of all the laps he's run here. 2 wins, 5 top 5s in the spring race, 3 in the fall race. Close. A 6.66 to Newman's 6.36 and Kyle Busch's 6.37 by 3/100. Stewart misses the pole.
That's kind of devilish, isn't it?
6.66. Don't start.
I thought that was 7.77.
No, it's 6.66. Hermie.
Yeah, catching up with David Rudiman. David, I walked by you 3 times and never saw you with your uniform on here. Pretty good new paint scheme for you.
Yeah, we got the Aaron's Outdoors paint scheme that you can, it's on the Pursuit channel. So it looks pretty good. We really like it. We run this paint scheme. We ran it last year. We ran 4th with it. So a similar scheme this year. And you know, hopefully we'll have a little bit better result. But before I forget, I got to say happy birthday to Ken Butler, the COO of Aaron's. Don't know what his age is, but I know it's his birthday today, so happy birthday, Ken.
I want to say happy birthday to him. And a couple of good finishes in the last couple of races. Chicago, obviously a big win for you guys, and a solid effort at Bristol a couple of weeks ago all night long.
Yeah, we had a great Aaron's Dream Machine at Bristol, and you know, it's we ran one Chicago, we didn't, then things just didn't go our way after that. So it was good to be able to get to Bristol and get a second place finish and gain a little bit in the points. I mean, you know, the chase is a long shot for us, but we're going to keep on digging and see what happens.
Well, thanks for David Rudiman for talking to us. And I want to say, if Ken Butler's watching, Ken's a good guy. I'm going to guess his age. I'm going to say he's 29. Yeah. We'll go with that.
Same age as Jeff Hammond will be next week.
Exactly.
Right. Well, Paul Menard had 2 great practice sessions, but he falls 4th among the Fords with a 29.98, probably not the lap he hoped for.
But
Car
this
sliding around a lot.
This was definitely one of the better runs that he had in 2010. He ran there in the top 5, top 10 all day long back in March, and actually ended up finishing 5th.
Well, thanks to the folks at DuPont and Hendrick Motorsports' other sponsors, Jeff Gordon's daughter, Ella Sophia, got to design this paint scheme for the Jeff Gordon Children's Foundation with a little help from noted NASCAR artist Sam Bass. And that's what's on Jeff Gordon's Chevy.
Yeah, because September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, and that's what this paint scheme's all about. This is something that Jeff and Ingrid are very close to. It's efforts to raise awareness and funds for childhood cancer research. Well, a little nervous right there in the middle of turn 1 and 2 with this 24 car.
A little D-Dido hurts him a little bit on the exit of 2.
7 of the last 8 races, Gordon has qualified in the top 10, including a pole here.
And you know, honestly, he sat on the pole and won the race here in the Nationwide Series in 1992, and that's somewhat what caught the eye of Rick Hendrick.
Well, that string will fall as Gordon stands 11th right now with a lap of 29.98.
The dreaded 4th turn strikes one more time.
Sure does. If we could just run turns 1 and 2 twice, we'd be all set. Kurt Busch is next. Kurt Busch will be the 27th driver to take time. The time to beat is Ryan Newman, 29.636. Busch with 2 front row starts here in the last 3 years and 2 victories in the spring races and leading the most laps both times. In fact, both of his wins this season have been on mile and a halfs, Atlanta and the May race at Charlotte.
He was 2nd in the first practice session earlier today and 20th in the final practice session.
Sneaking up on it with the Miller Lite Dodge. There it is in checkered flag territory. How about turn 4?
Actually, I think the middle of 3 and 4 is where his trouble started.
29.769. Fastest Dodge, 6th overall. Bob?
Tony Stewart talking to Jeff Mindering and the boys about his lap here. A good qualifying run for both Stewart-Haas racing cars. How was your car?
Not as good as Ryan's, but actually it's probably as good as Ryan's. I just don't do as good a job qualifying as Ryan does, but proud of this office depot at Spice Chevy, and I don't know where it'll end up, but it's going to be a pretty decent spot, and we should get a good pit selection, so I'm pretty proud of these guys.
I'll tell you what, Tony Stewart's got some momentum, guys. In the last 11 races, 9 top 10 finishes.
Well, our next 2 cars will be the cars that Ryan Newman, Kyle Busch, Tony Stewart, I think they'll have to watch the closest. This 48 car, Jimmy Johnson, and then next up, Casey Kane in that 9 car.
The Lowe's Chevrolet has only 1 pole here that came on points. Qualifying rained out, but 3 victories and 1 outside pole and a bunch of 3rd place starts.
That car just rocketed off of turn 2. Boy, he got a heck of a run late exit.
Picking up all the way down the straightaway and more.
He drove it in awful deep, Larry. If he could just stick off of turn 3 and 4, doesn't do it.
But it looks like the bump started upsetting that race car.
4th for Johnson, 29.693. He and Montoya had exactly the same time.
And of course, the tiebreaker is who's the highest in the points, so that would go to the 48 car.
Casey Kane, who won the opening round of practice today, is next. Casey Kane in the Budweiser Valvoline Ford won the opening round of practice with 30.151. Was his quick lap in that session. and it was coolest then in the morning. That was the fastest lap of the day in practice. Can he back it up?
Got through the middle of 1 and 2 pretty good, and it looks like the exit was good, which that speed carries all the way down the back straightaway. Just not sure there's enough cushion there. You could see it got into turn 3 good, but lost it center off, and it just, you continue to lose all the way off the corner.
Once it happens, I mean, it just goes in a hurry.
7th with a 29.7 flat. Kane, the last driver to win here from the pole, did it in the spring race of 2006.
You know, Mike, there's been so much speculation. Can Jamie McMurray make up those 100 points in 2 races to get into the top 12? Let's go back to 2006. Casey Kane did make up 90 points in the final 2 races to get into the chase that year.
47 cars here, so 4 will go home when we get to knockout qualifying in just a few minutes. Denny Hamlin carrying new colors, the Sport Clips Camry for Hamlin, who has 1 4th-place start and 1 3rd-place finish here at Atlanta.
I don't know how this car will qualify, but I know watching and listening to the interviews about Denny Hamlin, he's very, very happy with this race car, especially in race trim.
Wow. That's a happy car right there. Turn 2.
He's got about a 10th in the bank going off into turn 3.
If he can just keep it, now he gets a whole lot more, but he's going to give it all back up coming off exit at turn 4.
That number coming down.
Coming down.
I believe it's going to do it, though. It's going to do it. Yes.
Yeah.
29.58. He gave up a little bit, but he had enough in the bank getting into turn 3.
Larry, he won it in turn 2. As he carried, he kept building cushion all the way into turn 3. So when the car didn't quite work for him coming out of 4, he still had enough in the bank to carry.
And that was it. The insurance he was able to buy was enough that he could give it back and still have enough to be able to get the pole.
And I believe, based on what I witnessed earlier today, he's going to be pretty tough tomorrow night.
So Denny Hamlin knocks Ryan Newman off the pole. Buddy Baker starts breathing again up in Cheryl's Ford.
Breathe,
Hi, buddy.
Breathe.
Told you it would happen. Just relax, guys.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. is on the clock in the National Guard Chevrolet.
Sat on the pole when we were here back in the spring.
Finished 15th. That was his 2nd pole here at Atlanta. He also has 2 outside poles.
That car is nervous through the center of that corner.
They were just barely top 20 in practice today.
He's going to have to hustle if he wants to get back to the top 20 right now, Mike. That car never took a set down the bottom of the racetrack.
Car just looks nervous.
Yeah, he's going to end up starting about mid-pack with this run here. He ends up 21st at a 30.05, the slowest of the 4 Hendrick cars.
His car wasn't that bad through 3 and 4, but it was really not good at all in 1 and 2, which is the opposite of a lot of cars.
Just didn't look down in the racetrack.
No.
So Hamlin quickest, Rudiman and Edwards next. Speed's coverage of NASCAR Sprint Cup qualifying is brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Click it or ticket. By Pep Boys. Pep Boys does everything for less. And by Cheerios. Check out Cheerios.com/love for heart-healthy tips and a chance to win the ultimate race weekend. The Camouflage Aaron's Toyota for David Rudiman times in 11th with a lap of 29.78. He is the 3rd fastest Toyota.
And what I've seen in practice, do not rule out this young man right here. They've been very steady and kind of under the radar a lot today, but that's a good qualifying effort, and he could easily be a guy you'd have to worry about come Sunday night.
Bob?
Denny Hamlin, earlier today, you told me your car was about as perfect as it could get. How perfect was that lap?
It wasn't perfect, but I knew it was a good lap. My heart was racing going down the backstretch because I knew I hit turn 1 pretty well. But had to check up a little bit in 3 and 4 to keep it on the bottom, but I'm not a qualifier. Any of my fans know that I'm usually in the 20s when I win races, so I think this just tells us how fast our car is.
Not too bad for not a qualifier, guys.
Here's the last best threat for the pole, Carl Edwards. in the Aflac Ford, second fastest in final practice. Has one outside pole here and 3 wins.
Slick, he was just a little bit late getting back to the throttle in turn 2 and gave up a little bit there. It's going to be a great qualifying run. I don't know if it's going to be a pole run for Carl Edwards, but looks like he may end up in the top 5.
Fastest Ford, Edwards is 4th, 29.666, identical lap to Tony Stewart.
So that's 2 ties that we have between Edwards and Stewart, who are 4th and 5th, Jimmy Johnson and Montoya, who are 6th and 7th.
You say things a little bit tight, guys?
And then you have Newman and Busch just 1,000th apart.
Exactly.
That's about a duck quack apart right there.
No pun intended, right?
No, never.
Now, Carl Edwards will get the nod on that tie because he's higher than the 14 car in owner points.
David Gilliland in the Taco Bell Ford. Little slide there. New crew chief Peter Suspenzo replaces Randy Seals as Suspenzo and his whole crew moves over to the 37 to take care of Gilliland. He has 1 top 15 start, 1 top 15 finish here, and he will start 14th tonight in the nationwide race.
He's going to be pretty disappointed in this because we made note in that final practice when it was all said and done, they were 11th quickest, and they're right back there with one of the slowest cars so far in this qualifying session.
He has had his hands full. That car has been sliding around ever since he took the green.
30.28. And you're right, nowhere near indicative of where they practiced earlier. He is 32nd of 34. So here's Hermie.
Hey, catching up with Awesome Bill. Hey, you got double multitasking here on pit road, getting ready to qualify this 21 car, and also keep an eye on Son Chase up in North Wilkesboro. You said the last update you got, he was second with about 90 laps to go. Any further updates?
No, I hadn't heard any more, but hopefully everything will go okay there, and hopefully we'll get this 21 Ford Parts Fusion in. We've been struggling this morning, and the one good thing is I got a mulligan to fall back on, but I sure don't want to do that. But we'll give it our best shot here in a little bit.
How was the car in practice, and what have you guys changed to get ready for this qualifying lap?
I just hadn't been very comfortable at all. The car's moving around a lot, and just trying to get the car settled down and get it to where we can, run a good lap. You go out there and you can kind of set a pace, but you're off quite a bit. And we've worked on a lot of things, and Hyder and all the guys have done a really good job. And I think we'll make a good stab at it here.
Well, Bill Elliott, always a fan favorite here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and the mulligan he's referring to, if he needs it, is the past champions. Mike?
Thanks, Hermie. Martin Truex in the Napa Toyota. He was up to pole position 2 or 3 different times in that lap, but it just didn't end as well as he would hope. He is the 3rd fastest Toyota, 6th overall with a 29.67 with a 6.
There was an announcement this week. We've been talking about Aaron's and Ken Butler, and in tribute to Aaron's 55th anniversary, they're going to sponsor Michael Waltrip in the 55 car coming up here in the fall at Talladega. Be Michael's 3rd start or 3rd attempt in 2010.
All right. Knockout qualifying is next. If you like the smell of rubber in the air, then racing's your passion. Check out Cheerios.com/love for heart-healthy tips and a chance to win the ultimate race weekend. Love your heart so you can do what you love. We're into knockout qualifying. There are 12 drivers for 8 spots. 4 will go home. And the first of those is Scott Riggs for Prism Motorsports in this unsponsored Camry. Riggs tapped for this ride as Dave Blaney decided to move on for another opportunity. We'll tell you about in a little while.
Now, I think it will be to no avail. When you look at our top 35, not a single car has run a second lap, but as we get into these go or go homers, they almost have to unless they really run a good lap.
Now 8 will make it. On the practice sheet, the ones most at risk are Landon Castle, Scott Riggs, who's on track right now, Todd Bodine, and Jason Leffner, who did not run the second practice. So 30.609 for Riggs. That is the standard right now.
Yeah, he lost about a half a second. The tires just continue to lose grip as you can make more laps around this mile-and-a-half racetrack.
Part of a 2-car entry. Scott Riggs along with the 55 being driven by Mike Bliss. A lot of driver changes in this group of cars outside the top 35 as we move toward the latter third of the season. The Canadian Patrick Carpentier, who came here once with the Evernham team in a Dodge, started 21st, finished 35th. That was in 2008. Let's see if he can put the Air National Guard Ford into the field.
He was about mid-pack of our go or go homers in practice, and looking at the air guard on this car, how neat that actually they're going to sponsor the race next week at Richmond.
And Mike, we saw him do a pretty good job at Michigan earlier when he got the opportunity to drive this 26 car and was able to get it in there. So far looking pretty sporty on this lap if he can get through turn 4.
This would be his 3rd start of the year, Watkins Glen and Michigan, as Jeff mentioned.
Give him back a little bit after off the exit of turn 4, but it looks like he's going to hold on and be a little bit quicker than Scott Riggs.
He is 33rd with a 30.286.
That's about 7/10 quicker than what he had run in practice. And I mean, that's the benefit right there. And he gets awful close to the wall on that second lap, trying to pick up a little bit.
I think we'll have to watch another 1 or 2 go or go homers run to kind of see where the mark's at. But I don't know right now if I would feel comfortable unless I could maybe run in the 30-0s, maybe the low 30-10s.
I'm with you, Larry. A 10 would make me very happy.
Yeah,
right
I think you'd be in good shape.
So Carpentier's second lap is slower by a little more than 3/10. Bob?
Martin Truex Jr. fast all day long, and man, you flirted with that top spot. What crushed you?
3 and 4. I mean, it's, obviously the sun's beating down on that end, and that end's always the trickiest. The tires are the hottest when you get down there, and felt good through 1 and 2, got off 2, felt good going into 3, and just got tight down there in the center. Had to drag the brake too much, and that hurt my momentum. So I knew when I had to do that it wasn't going to be a pole, but a good run for a Napa Toyota. We were terrible off the truck, and the guys worked really hard, went through a lot of changes, and actually started that second practice in race trim and did some stuff there. So finally felt good about it in the second practice, and one of my favorite racetracks. So we're really looking forward to the race tomorrow night. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Promising signs for Truex Jr. tomorrow night here at Hotlanta.
J.J. Yaley in the Tommy Baldwin Racing number 36 Chevrolet. The Phoenix driver's best trip to Atlanta was his first time here for Joe Gibbs Racing. He started 5th and finished 15th. He has a total of 6 Cup races under his belt here.
Looks like he's going to be right in that area of Patrick Carpentier and Scott Riggs as far as his lap time.
Right in the middle.
Right in the middle.
30-31.
And like everybody else we've watched all afternoon, turn 4 is where he gave back the most amount of speed right there on that late exit. And that car is getting ill a little bit off of turn 2 also on this second lap.
Yaley was a little slower than Carpentier in practice, and that's mirrored in the qualifying times.
He's going to go for 2, but it looks like the further you go, especially when you get to turn 4, it just slows down, and he'll lose about 3.5 tenths.
So after 4 drivers, this is 3. After 4, we'll start locking drivers into the field as knockout qualifying continues with Michael McDowell, Todd Bodine, and Dave Blaney. Michael McDowell for Whitney Motorsports is the 4th driver in knockout qualifying. In this number 46 Cash America Chevrolet, it's McDowell's 2nd trip to Atlanta. He made the field for the first race of the first Atlanta race of the season back here in March.
He's got his hands full, but it's going to be a great lap, it looks like, for Michael McDowell. 30.03, I would shut it off. I would not run a second lap if I ran a 30.03.
Yeah, 23rd fastest. He's in the show.
Oh, yeah. Somebody told him.
Somebody got on that radio. Good lap for Michael. Michael's another one of those drivers. He finds that little bit extra when it comes to qualifying.
Another Phoenix area driver, McDowell from Glendale.
But guys, he really had his handful right here in the late exit of this off of turn 4. Look at he bobbled right there. A lot of times, man, that's what knocks a half a second out of the car, but he was able to hang on to it.
Well, something tells me the biggest thing that was going on, he never lifted that throttle.
Nope.
So McDowell will race here tomorrow night, and it brings out the number 64 for Todd Bodine, last night's winner in the Camping World Truck Series for Germain Racing. This will be his 19th trip here in a Cup car. He's won a truck race here and has 7 Cup starts this season.
Has a very substantial points lead over in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series.
He's been having his hands full, though, here all day at Atlanta. Everything worked out well for him last night in Kentucky, but he's really had his hands full with this 64 car.
Yeah, he was one of the slowest of the go or go home cars in that final practice session.
Well, he is having a drive. Not enough. 30.62. That lap has a goodbye look to it.
Oh, it does.
That's about half a second off where you pretty well need to be to feel good about your chances.
I mean, he's working on a little bit better of a lap, but it's going to have to be even better than a little bit better, I think, for him to get up there even remotely to have a chance. Nope, slows down, and that's not going to be good enough to race tomorrow night.
It's good for Michael McDowell, though.
Locks him in. Locks McDowell in. He's the first driver to lock in knockout qualifying, where 4 go home.
But you said that before we ever saw Todd Bodine run, and we knew he was going to get locked in.
Yep.
Next up is Dave Blaney, who moves from Prism Motorsports over to the front row team to drive this number 38 A&W Root Beer Ford. Randy Seals is Blaney's crew chief, having moved over from the 37 with his crew.
Yeah, I think this is one of the operations. It's the 3-car operation. They're searching for little things that maybe can make them a little bit better. And they actually swap not only the crew chiefs, but basically both entire race teams.
Blaney all but had a win here driving for Bill Davis. He made 5 starts here for Bill Davis Racing. Was the class of the field, led a lot of laps, 70 or so, and had trouble on pit road. Didn't make it to victory lane. But it was his best shot at winning a Cup race in his career thus far. And Blaney's kind of got to go here.
Yeah, it looked like he at one time during this lap had some hope, but I don't think it's going to happen on this lap here. He's beat a lot of the go-or-go homers at a 32.98.
He's beat 3, but you need to beat 4, and unless he picks up, it will lock in Patrick Carpentier.
Yeah, even the cars lately that's run this second lap, you see anywhere from 0.3 to a half a second loss from lap 1 to lap 2, and I think this will be about the same.
So Blaney locks in Patrick Carpentier, and the bottom 4 fastest to slowest are Blaney, Yaley, Riggs, and Bodine.
And that's got to be somewhat disappointing for Dave Blaney, because he was second quickest of the go-or-go homers in that final practice.
Sprint brings you an inside look at what's happening now inside the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Denny Hamlin with a lap of 29.587 right now is quickest. For more NASCAR stats, in-car audio, and live race radio, check out NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile at sprint.com/speed. Speed's presentation of NASCAR Sprint Cup qualifying is presented by Subway Restaurants. So many $5 footlong subs to choose from. Enjoy amazing value at Subway all day, every day. And brought to you by Metroid Other M, exclusively on Wii, rated teen. And by Sprint, the Now Network. Jason Leffler for Braun Racing, trying to make his first Cup start of the year in the Braun Camry. His first lap 30.499. That is not quick enough. Second lap is slower, and Leffler will lock in Dave Blaney into tomorrow night's race. So the bottom 4 are now Yaley, Leffler, Riggs, and Bodine.
Yeah, this would be Jason's first start in Sprint Cup in 2010 if he can qualify for this race. Running the Nationwide Series full-time, qualified 11th earlier today in that qualifying session.
Next up will be Mike Bliss. He is the teammate to Scott Riggs, now at Prism Motorsports, making his first attempt in the 55 with Dave Blaney moving on to the front row team. Bliss has 7 prior starts here with the best start of 9th and 1, make that 2 top 20 finishes.
It has to be flattering to Mike Bliss. I think he is the constant factor in the bullpen of NASCAR Sprint Cup Series racing. He's driven a bunch of cars this year.
Time to lock in 30.31. That's what you need to beat. That's the green line that represents J.J. Yaley.
Mike slips just that little bit getting into turn 3. Now he's not getting it off of turn 4 like he needs to, and I don't think he's going to do it, guys.
No, he is 4 1/1000ths short of beating Yaley. He needs to be the first person to pick up on lap 2 if he's going to be guaranteed in.
But if you watch the tracker, Larry, he's overdriving the entrance of these corners, and that's getting him in trouble because everybody's having the problems getting off of the exit of these corners.
That lap will send Todd Bodine in that 64 car to the house. Yeah, this lap's going to be slower, so Mike Bliss going to have to wait it out here a little bit. Slows down to a 30.60.
So J.J. Yaley is in the show with a 30.31 for Tommy Baldwin. And now the 3 drivers at risk are Bliss, Leffler, and Riggs in that order, with Todd Bodine headed home. And 3 cars to go. Casey Mears, Joe Nemechek, and Bill Elliott.
And actually Landon Castle in the 09 car. Yeah,
yes,
he'll be the last car to go out.
4 to go. The reason we're only showing 3 spots is that Elliott's in, whether it's by time or by the past champions provisional.
Right.
So there's 3 spots available, and Casey Mears is hopeful of one of them. He has 14 starts here, including 2 in the top 10, as he brings the Geico Camry around for his qualifying lap.
But he by far was the quickest of the go or go home guys in that final practice session earlier today.
Time to beat 30.315. That's Mike Bliss. That's the green line.
Did not get through the middle of 1 and 2, and especially off the exit of 2. Did not get off of it at all. This is going to be a disappointing run for this 13 car.
I think he's trying to rally back here just a little bit. Where does it put him?
Oh, not enough. Mears 30.40 to Bliss's 30.31.
That'll send Scott Riggs in the 66 car to the house.
And Larry, I'm sitting here thinking, you know, that you would felt like that with the shade in 1 and 2, that this racetrack would have had enough grip where you pick up some speed down there. But it looks like everybody's trying to take too much advantage of the track, overdriving turn 1, hurting the exit of turn 2, and it's killing you down here still in 3 and 4.
Second lap is 8 1/100ths slower. So Riggs goes home, and that will lock Mike Bliss into the show. So now the slowest 2 awaiting their fate are Casey Mears and Jason Leffler. 3 cars to go. Knockout qualifying for the Emory Healthcare 500 continues with Joe Nemechek out of Lakeland, Florida. Nemechek needs to beat a 30.407 to get his Camry into the field, one of the few remaining owner drivers in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Joe hopes to make his 34th Atlanta start, and he will. With a 30.279, he is the second fastest of the go or go homers, and that will send Jason Leffler and Braun Racing home.
Good lap right there by Joe.
Very good.
So we know Bill Elliott will race, so it'll come down between Casey Mears in the 13 car and our last qualifier after Bill Elliott goes out, Landon Castle in the 09 car.
Now, when Bill was interviewed earlier, he said, yeah, I've got that mulligan in my pocket, but I hate to use it. And the reason is NASCAR limits how many times you can use the past champions provisional in a season.
Well, and the good news is he's made 8 starts in 2010, and he's not used it yet.
Not used it, yeah. I think it's more of a sense of pride for him and the Wood brothers that they bring a car to the racetrack every week, and when they do show up, it's ready to get the job done. Right now, they've had their hands full with this 21 car, and this is one of Bill's better tracks, so I think he believes that he should be able to qualify his way in.
Yeah, 61 starts here, 5 poles, and 5 wins for Bill Elliott.
And like so many people, he is basically, it looked to me like overdrove turn 1 and gave up a ton of time off the exit now back into turn 3 here, see if he can rally back. Saw the car bottom out just a little bit, sparks fly.
Yeah, this right now he's flirting with that mulligan land that he was talking about.
He is quicker than Casey Mears by 1/100th of a second.
Wow.
And that'll do it. Mike Bliss, though, at 30-31. Mears at 30-40. Elliott will race, we know. It's just a question of where. 30.398.
That should lock him in on time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Mike Bliss is locked in. Bill Elliott's locked in on time. He will not have to use the championship provision.
By maybe 100th of a second.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Boy, I look at our go or go homers back there. It is so tight for the guys that are locked in and guys that didn't make it.
And hats off to Len and Eddie and that entire Wood Brothers team, because in today's NASCAR, it is tough to do this on a partial schedule and remain competitive. If you're not here every week, it's easy to fall behind.
It's tough to do it as a driver. It's tough to do it as a race team. So, yeah, absolutely.
Larry, you talk about those times. I mean, you talk about Nemechek ran 34th. He ran a 2.7 to Carpentier's 2.8 to Blaney's 2.9 to Yaley's 3.1 to Bliss's 3.15. I mean, this just everybody's stacked right on top of each other.
Landon Castle's going to have to run by far his fastest lap of the day if he is going to make this race and knock Casey Mears out of the field.
It's not looking too good as he's about halfway through this first lap. He needs to be to the left of the green stripe. That represents Casey Mears.
And that's 30.407.
And Landon, in some previous races this year, the 2 Michigan races in particular, has had a couple of great qualifying runs.
It's not enough. 30.565. Now, Castle's fastest practice lap was 31.1, so he's picked up 0.6. The trouble is, he needs another 0.2 more.
Well, not saying he can't, but no one has picked up on lap 2 from lap 1 of the cars that's running. So this is probably going to be pretty good news for Casey Mears in that 13 car.
Castle across the stripe is quicker, but not enough. Casey Mears with a 30.407 prevails and garners the last spot in the field.
You got to tip your hat to this young man. I know it's no consolation, but he was going for it. And as you said, Mike, the only car that ran a second lap that picked up on lap 2.
Tough break for Landon Castle and Phoenix Racing, along with Jason Leffler, Scott Riggs, and Todd Bodine. Those will be the 4 cars that fail to make the field for the Emory Healthcare 500 tomorrow night. At the other end of the garage area, Denny Hamlin is celebrating Joe Gibbs Racing's 50th Cup pole. We'll join the celebration after this. Denny Hamlin has won his 8th career Sprint Cup pole in his 176th start and his first pole since October 2009. Twice he has won from the pole position. He is the 45th different driver to win a Cup pole at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Bob?
Denny Hamlin very happy down here. We were just joking around. It's been a while. Mike Joey said about a year since you've been on the pole, but what does this mean to you here at Atlanta?
Well, it tells us we got a really strong race car. Just can't thank everyone from Sport Clips enough for jumping in, and it's been a great weekend so far. Our car was just phenomenal in race trim, and really didn't expect this in qualifying trim, but the car's just got good raw speed.
Here's what I want to know. We talked at Bristol, and you said you had a big monkey or a gorilla on your back. And what does a pole win here to start the weekend mean when these next 2 races you told me are very critical for you?
Well, I mean, I was very optimistic. No matter what happened in qualifying, I had to tell myself that I knew I had a race-winning car come tomorrow night. So this is just a huge bonus for us because, you know, I'm typically very, very bad in qualifying, and for us to be anywhere near the front, it's very uplifting for this team.
Mike, Denny Hamlin likes getting milestones for Joe Gibbs Racing. He got its 50th win and also its 75th win in the Cup Series, and he likes this one for the pole.
Hamlin will start from the pole. Ryan Newman, the Rocket, on the outside. Kyle Busch kicked to row 2 by 1,000th of a second with Carl Edwards.
I'd run for David Reagan. Remember, he was the very first car to go out when actually the track was at its hottest.
Yeah, so was Ryan Newman. They all did pretty well right there. We take a look back here
Look
on
upper
row
right.
6.
McMurray and Boyer right there, Jeff.
There's the
for that
battle
spot
right there for that number 12 spot. Got my eye on you.
As we look down through the grid, I want to say hello to Gay. My wife is a week out of shoulder surgery, doing a great job with her recovery. I love you. I'll see you soon.
Saw our points leader Kevin Harvick way deep in the field in that 29 car, but he started deep in the field here in the spring and ended up with a top 10 finish.
And Casey Mears grabs that last spot with 4 drivers.
By the hair of his chinny chin chin.
Yes. Casey Kane starts from the pole in the nationwide race tonight, and Denny Hamlin is the pole winner for the Emory Healthcare 500.